Have you ever felt lost, untethered, searching for something more? Welcome to Angelic Footprints, where the spirit meets the road on a journey to self-healing and rediscovery. I'm Dagmar, your host, psychic medium and seasoned traveler. Each week, we'll explore the world of angels and personal transformation. We're going to dive into compelling histories and captivating mythology. You're going to hear remarkable, real-life angel encounters and discover how you too can connect with the angels guiding your path. Whether it's through practical tips, meditation techniques, or stories that resonate deeply, Angelic Footprints is here to light your way. From mystical journeys to profound self-discovery, let's embark on this transformative journey together. Are you ready to find your angelic guide? Then subscribe to Angelic Footprints today and step into a world where angels walk beside you every step of the way. Angels, spirituality, healing. Let's ignite your transformation. Hello and welcome everybody to today's episode of Angelic Footprints. We have a special guest with us today. Her name is Sam Ritchie, and she is a certified angel guide, trained with and featured on Kyle Gray's website. She specializes in space clearing in person and from floor plans. Now, what's interesting is space clearing is the removal of negative energies and entities from a building. She reads oracle cards, helping to give people clarity and confidence, as well as offering past life regressions. She holds space for 2 spiritual circles a week and also monthly day retreats with themes such as creating vision boards, creating a spiritual practice, and gratitude. She has studied and worked on her abilities over the last 25 years to the point that she is now able to space clear using just a floor plan and an address. And that absolutely sounds amazing. It can turn negative and sometimes harmful energy into positive and abundant energy. And this gives the occupants a sense of well-being, calm, and clarity. It also helps businesses to grow and increases the speed at which properties sell, plus many other benefits. And her aim is to help people live a happy, connected, and guided life. Sam, that is such a beautiful intro. So welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay, so originally I'm from the UK, as you can probably tell, but now I live in Spain and have done for the last 17 years. And I was an estate agent in the UK, in London primarily, and found that I could sell properties that no one else could. And I didn't know why. It's only looking back that I know why. And that's because I was space clearing. I was clearing the energy just by turning up. What happened was I left a state agency, had a family, and we moved into a house. And I knew there was no entities there because as a child, I'd always been able to see things that other people couldn't see. So I was always seeing the history of buildings. I was always seeing historic events and spirits on the side of the road, which can be a bit freaky when you're driving along and someone jumps out in front of you.
Absolutely.
So I'd always been able to see it. And I thought, to be fair, I thought everyone could until I was about 21. And then someone said to me, not everyone sees what you see. You probably should be a little bit careful who you say these things to. And then I started to shut it down like we do. We're being criticized. We need to shut this down. Then I stopped being an estate agent and we moved into a new house and I knew there was no entities there. But the feeling of the property was heavy. It was really dark feeling. And I happened to mention to a spiritual friend of mine about it. And she said, "Oh, you want a space clear?" And this was before Google was a thing. Right. So it's like, I don't know what space clearing is. Tell me what it is. And so she said, well, basically, you go around, you clap, you use incense, and you have the intention that all the negative energy is going to leave. And so I set about space clearing my house. And what happened was I got all the history of the house. Well, not all of it, but a large amount of history from the house, which was very dark, which would explain the feelings I was having. And when I excitedly told her all the things I saw, she went, "You do know that most people, when they space clear, don't see a thing. They just space clear and feel the energy change, and that's it." Well, I didn't know what space clearing was. So obviously, I just assumed everyone would get all this information.
Yeah, so amazing.
Yeah. So roll on. Since that point, I've always space cleared the houses we've lived in, and we've lived in a lot. And I've space cleared for friends and family. And if someone mentioned that they had a bad smell that would come and go, or things moving, then I would go and space clear their properties. Roll on to 2020, and I was working in a kitchen in a local restaurant, and obviously everything shut down. And suddenly
Mm.
I had time on my hands. So that's when I studied with Kyle Gray, and I started giving oracle card readings online for free. And I did about 500 of them. And then people started wanting to give me money. And I was like, hang on a minute, I could feed my family doing what I love. So I started doing it for a business. And I put on my website about space clearing, thinking it would be a really small part of what I do because I live in rural Spain. You've either got to have a major problem or spiritually minded to come to me, and I've got to be able to travel to you. What happened next was quite amazing because a friend of mine who I'd space cleared their holiday home here in Spain contacted me and said, "Sam, I have this real big problem. I inherited a property from my grandparents. There's tenants in it. It needs essential maintenance work, and the tenants won't let me in. Can you space clear it from a plan and an address?" And I said, "Honestly, I have no clue whether I can or not." I said, "But I'll give it a go."
Well, it sounds like an opportunity, doesn't it?
Well, you don't know unless you try, do you? So I set about copying the plan that she gave me. And as I did that, all this information kept dropping in, including the names of her grandparents. And I was like, okay, clearly I can do this then. But what happened next was just astonishing because within 24 hours, and it wasn't even 24 hours, she called me to tell me that the tenants had allowed her in and that the work was scheduled to be done. I was like, okay, this works then.
What a fabulous outcome.
Yeah. And that was just the start because now I
Oh,
work with a number of estate agents and properties that haven't been able to sell, not because there is other reasons why properties don't sell. Obviously, if they're overpriced
mm.
or have serious issues, then they don't sell. But if it's an energetic problem, they sell really quickly and normally within about 48 hours. And business thriving, people's sleep problems disappearing, all sorts of amazing stuff just from space clearing from a floor plan.
Oh, Sam, your story sounds absolutely amazing. And I really hope our listeners who resonate with this, that they get in touch with you to help with that problem because your story is just inspiring. And, what started out as something that you thought might help someone has become a fabulous business opportunity. So well done, you. Let's talk for a moment about angelic experiences. Are you able to share with our listeners one or two experiences that are very significant for you?
Yeah. So, as I said before, I've always been able to see things that other people haven't been able to see. But to be fair, I was terrified at the thought of seeing an angel. I thought they were going to be 20-foot tall and this image that was just going to tower over me and engulf me. And I was terrified. And that all changed when my mum died. And as she left her body, I was there present when she died. as she left her body, this most beautiful light, and it was definitely an angel, there's no doubt. It's very difficult to describe how it was, but the energy was so loving, and it
Mm.
scooped my mum's soul up, and they just sort of both disappeared, and it was the most beautiful thing that I have ever experienced. And after that, it was like, okay, so I don't really need to be afraid of seeing angels. And then obviously that was before I started working with Kyle Gray and doing his courses. Since that point, whenever I'm space clearing and things get a bit dark or difficult, I see the angels in almost like, the cutouts we used to do as kids with paper chains of angels.
Yes,
I
yes,
see they appear to me like that all around me, but bright, really the brightest light you can imagine. And it's just beautiful. And it's such a privilege to be able to work with the angels with the work I do, because it's them doing the work, really. It's not me. They just need a human to do the human bit. And so it's a privilege to be a channel for them.
it is. It is. And I love your story. And, you reminded me of, I had a very special cat, and we had to let him go because he was very sick. And my daughters were there. We're at the vet. And, you talk about seeing that light of when they pass. And even before the vet put him down, I saw his spirit leave his body. And I saw it. And it was just such a sense of peace and calm. It was so beautiful. And I mean, obviously, my daughters and I, we were all in tears because, he left us. But seeing that experience, I know exactly what you're talking about and how special that is. And that's one of the reasons, I'm doing this podcast, because your story like that, I hope that inspires people to really draw this energy in and to feel at peace with it, and to give them aspirations and inspiration to move their lives forward, just like you have done.
Yeah, I hope so too. And, our angels are always with us, even if we can't see them, feel them, or even believe they're there. They are always with us. We don't need to know their names necessarily. We can just call them in. Thank you, angels, for showing us a sign, and a feather a turn up in a random place. Or I have an apartment, and one of the weirdest things, but the most amazing, is that one day I was going there, my washing machine used to live out there, and I was walking up the steps, and suddenly there was a boot from a Monopoly board on the
Yes,
step.
yes.
Well, the Monopoly board lives behind me in the unit, and it's locked, and no one had played with it for months. So there's no reason why it would have been outside. And it's just like, thank you for the sign that I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something that only happened to me this week. I had a problem with my car, and I backed it out of the garage and parked it on the driveway because I was going to go to the shop at lunchtime. And then all of a sudden, it's just would not start. And I'm thinking about it, and these things happen for a reason. It did end up having a dead battery because the battery was just gone. But I said to Spirit, my angels, I said, look, thank you very much for having that happen in my driveway so that I'm not out and about somewhere, that I'm on my own, worried about how to get home and all that. And sure enough, I'm going for a walk a little bit later, and this white feather literally drops down on me. It's like, you heard me. Thank you so much. We heard you. It's just, I love that. So thank you for sharing that story. In terms of angels, and you mentioned a few experiences, how would you say that overall that's influenced your life?
Oh, they've changed my life totally. Connecting with them has given me the courage to do the work I'm meant to be doing. And it has led me down a path that all those years ago when I was an estate agent, I never thought I would be doing this work. They've also led me to the path of writing my first book, which comes out on Wednesday. Yay!
Yay!
When I was at junior school, I couldn't read. No one had noticed it. Funnily enough, thinking back now, I would read the pictures, which is like
Mhm.
reading oracle cards, right?
It is.
But no one had noticed that that's why I was doing it. It was only when the books didn't have pictures anymore that I was really a bit stuffed, you know? And so to go from someone who really struggled at school, not only because I was different, because I saw things that other people couldn't see, but I really was struggling with the physical reading and writing, to write a book, you know, they've really changed my life.
It's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And for all our listeners, please listen to Sam's story again if you missed any of that, because, you know, these spiritual experiences absolutely can change your life. And the purpose of this show is to help really open your eyes to this other world that in many ways, you know, we're so focused on the physical and we forget that there's a spiritual side to ourselves. So, Sam, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. In terms of yourself, do you have something that you would like to share with our listeners, either, you know, your platform or any specials?
Yeah, I'd like to share my book, which is called Echoes Within Walls. It gives you the basics of how to space clear yourself. It also gives you some of the stories that I've picked up while space clearing, some of the amazing spirits that I've come across, both good and bad, and the histories of the properties. Now I'm based in Spain, so there's a lot of dark history around the area where I live. And it often comes up when I'm space clearing property, which is intriguing. I've had the privilege of space clearing a hotel with an escape tunnel in it and a palace. There's some
Wow.
amazing stuff.
Wow. Well, you know, I'm the same as you. You know, I've come from Australia to the UK, so moved countries. So that's what I'm saying. I'm the same as you. And it never fails to amaze me the difference in history that
Yeah.
we get to experience coming to a land that has been civilized for a long time and had civilizations and what comes with being part of a civilization. Sam, thank you. Thank you so much. Would you be kind enough to tell our listeners how people can get in touch with you, whether it's for space clearing, whether it's for a reading or anything else?
Yeah, you can get hold of me via my website, which is samangelguide.com. There's also free meditations on there. The most important, if you want to try space clearing for yourself, is the angelic protection meditation. Because before you start space clearing for yourself, protect your energy. That is the most important thing. And that's totally free under blogs on my website. You can also find me on Facebook, again, Sam Angel Guide, Instagram, Sam Angel Guide. I'm just about to set up Substack, but I haven't got my head around that yet. Everything is under Sam Angel Guide.
I love it. Nice and simple. So, Sam Angel Guide for all of our listeners who would like to get in touch with Sam. Sam, thank you so much for being here today. I loved your stories, and I know that there are listeners who are connecting into this show who will absolutely go, I can so relate to that. So, thank you. And I do hope that you please get in touch with Sam if you have any questions at all about her story, about space clearing, or if you want some help with some angel cards. In the meantime, if you found this episode valuable, please share information about the show with 3 people who you believe would find it beneficial. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a 5-star review on the platform where you're listening. Until the next episode, blessings, and may your life be filled with hope and inspiration.